Welcome back to FatLogic. Let's best it.
But what about the epidemic?
Obesity.
It's not a real thing. Fat people existing does not qualify as an epidemic. It's state sponsored, highly profitable fat phobia. Thanks for asking. The obesity epidemic
Obesity.
is made up. People are also taller than they used to be on average, but the government is not using tall people's tax dollar to fund a war on tallness. Our average body temperature is dropping 0.05 degrees per decade, but there's no war on coldness. There's nothing wrong with being fat.
Yes, there is.
And after billions of dollars spent on diets prescribed, fat people just keep on existing. In fact, considering that most diets end with people gaining back more weight than they lost, what those who are in such a hurry to prevent larger people might want to wage a war on dieting. Regardless, fat people have the right to live without shame, stigma, bullying, oppression, and it doesn't matter why we are fat, what being fat is or is not correlated with, or if we could be thinner. The rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are not and should not be size or health dependent.
Okay, I'm not exactly sure where to start here, given that I have a lot to say here. First of all, no one ever said that fat people don't have the right to live. So that to me sounds like projection. If you feel like you don't have the right to live because you are fat, please get professional help. The pursuit of happiness should not be health dependent. What? Let me ask you a question. Does health even matter to you? Okay, in this case, it's probably a rhetorical question because it is obvious that it doesn't. But on the other hand, I do want to bet that it does to you, and you just want to sound like it doesn't. Because I'm pretty sure you secretly wish you were not your size. Because as a fat person,
Excuse me?
as an obese person, your mobility is probably reduced. And you probably have joint pains. And if you don't yet, it's only a matter of time until you do. And the obesity epidemic does not exist, it is made up. What world do you live in? The majority of Americans are obese, which, by the way, should tell you something. People are obese mainly because of the food that they eat, and the food that they eat is mainly junk food. So, if the majority of Americans are obese because of junk food rather than diets, which industry do you think is making more money? Don't think the junk food industry is, and they're packing on you.
Reassuring folks that they cannot get fat from eating one or two cookies is fat phobic. It doesn't matter how much you try to dress it up as reframing diet stuff, you're doing harm. There's a pattern I witness across the teen, non-fat health at every size professional space. It's an attempt at reframing diet thoughts, or talking back to diet culture or reminders for your body. And almost invariably, these teen non-fat health at every size professionals will perpetuate fat phobia and thus enacting harm in the very messages they're putting out there. It's not okay, but your teen privilege affords you the ability not to even think about the ways in which these messages might land for people not like you. I saw a dietetic practice post recently about reframing diet thoughts. The reframe was a reassurance that people cannot get fat by eating one or two cookies. Can we stop weaponizing fatness and stop with the idea that fatness is ultimately the single most horrible thing that a person can be?
Nope.
Can we stop reassuring people that they won't get fat?
Nope.
Your message here reads, you won't end up looking like her, feeling like I have the worst fingers pointed at me by eating one or two cookies. It's okay, honey, you won't get fat. And I'm fucking done with this bull.
Okay, first of all, it is not about you. The world does not revolve around you. Not everything is around you. And yes, one or two cookies are not going to make you fat, provided you are in a calorie deficit or eating the exact calorie that you need for maintenance. The same way as one or two salads might not get you thin, depending on how you make that salad. And this brings me to my question for you. Are you mad because diet thoughts are being reframed, as you put it? Or are you mad because it is a thin person who reframe diet thoughts? Because it sounds like no matter what teen people do, you are going to find something to talk about in a way to diminish them, even when they are speaking your language. So which is it? What do you want at the end of the day? If someone tells you to lose weight, they're fatphobic. If someone reframe diet thought, they're fatphobic. And especially if they are thin, wow, what? On the other side, I might have to agree with you on one point. There is no such thing as healthy at every size. Therefore, any professional who claims to be healthy at every size proponent is complete bull. And by the way, being obese is a horrible thing because obesity exposes you to a myriad of illnesses such as diabetes, high blood pressure, heart attacks, and so on. Oh, and including death, early death.
The thing about the oh my god, stop glorifying obesity people is that these are the ones whose entire sense of self is wrapped up in the beauty standard. They've been taught to literally live and die by it. So, what they're really saying is, please don't switch this up on me. Like, please don't say that fat bodies are beautiful now because I've spent my whole life and built my whole identity around achieving. They always think it's something they've earned. Thinness. And now if fat is beautiful, then I did it for nothing. And we just don't owe anyone comfort that causes us misery.
Oh, absolutely. You don't owe us anything. You don't owe anyone anything, right? Besides, your choices are yours to live with. And do you also know what is yours to live with? The consequences of those choices of yours. People being thin, yes, some people are born thin. Some people earn their thinness. And yes, it's something you earn if you work for it. And you could too, if you were willing to work for it. My muscles and my flat tummy, I work for those. So yeah, it is earned. Fighting obesity is not rooted in the beauty standard. We don't fight obesity because being obese is ugly. Fighting obesity is about health, not beauty standard. And talking about beauty standard, honey, Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, which means that what is beautiful to you may not be beautiful to me. Or let me rephrase this. We are all ugly to someone, and it's also called preferences. Is there anything you can do about it? Last but not least, I also find you quite hypocritical because you clearly have issues with people tearing down fat people, yet you feel the urge to tear down skinny people or thin people to make the point to support fat people? Really? So maybe instead of sitting in your comfortable chair or wherever you're sitting on, maybe you should start by checking yourself and then possibly do something about your own personality and also your health. Thanks for tuning in and see you soon.